The rain hammered the windshield like bullets. Elias Rowan gripped the steering wheel tighter, his jaw set as he navigated the winding road through upstate New York. Another late night. Another empty drive back to the manor. Another day of existing without living. Then he saw her. A figure in the road, soaked and swaying. He slammed the brakes. The Range Rover skidded on wet gravel, stopping inches from her fragile frame. She didn't move. Didn't even flinch. Elias threw open the door, rain instantly soaking his tailored suit. "What the hell are you doing?" The girl looked up. Young, maybe 19. Her eyes were dark hollows in a pale face, her coat threadbare and mud-caked. "Walking. In this." He gestured at the storm raging around them. "I didn't plan the weather." Her voice was quiet, but steady. No fear. No pleading. Something about that steadiness unnerved him. He'd built an empire on reading people, and she was unreadable. "Get in the car." "No. You're freezing." "I'll manage." Elias felt frustration rise in his chest. "I don't leave people to die in storms." "I'm not dying. Not yet." He stepped closer. Rain ran down his face. "Look, I'm not a creep. I'm just someone who doesn't want your death on his conscience." She studied him for a long moment. Then, without a word, she walked past him and climbed into the passenger seat. The silence inside the car was thick. Elias turned up the heat and pulled back onto the road. She leaned her head against the window, eyes closed, trembling. "You have a name?" "Clara." "Last name. Does it matter?" He glanced at her. Water dripped from her dark hair onto his leather seats. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. "Where are you going?" she asked, eyes still closed. "Home." "Where's that?" "You'll see." 20 minutes later, Rowan Manor rose from the darkness like something out of a Gothic novel. Stone and ivy. Tall windows glowing gold. Clara's eyes opened wide as they approached. "You live here?" "Yes. Alone. Mostly." He helped her from the car. She stumbled. He caught her elbow, feeling bones through wet fabric. Inside, the warmth hit them both. A fire roared in the great hall. Clara stood dripping on marble floors, staring at the vaulted ceilings and oil paintings of ancestors who weren't his. "There's a shower upstairs. Second door on the left. I'll have food ready in 20 minutes. She turned to him, her dark eyes searching his face. "Why are you helping me?" The question hung in the air between them. Elias could have said many things. "Because you remind me of myself. Because I know what it's like to be lost. Because your eyes look like they've seen the same darkness I have." Instead, he said, "You look like you need it." She nodded slowly, then disappeared up the grand staircase. Elias stood alone in the hall, listening to her footsteps fade. He told himself this was temporary. A good deed. By morning, she'd be gone, and his life would return to its carefully constructed emptiness. But when Clara came downstairs 40 minutes later, wearing his robe and sitting at his table, eating soup with deliberate slowness, something in his chest cracked open. "How long since you've eaten?" he asked. 2 days. "Where are you from?" "Nowhere anymore." "Running from something?" She looked up, and for the first time, he saw steel beneath the exhaustion. "Running from everything." The words hit him harder than they should have. "You can stay tonight," he heard himself say. "Storm's not letting up." Clara set down her spoon. "And tomorrow?" "We'll see." She studied him across the table. "You're lonely." Elias froze. No one had ever said it out loud before. "What makes you think that?" "Because," she said softly, "I know what it looks like." The fire crackled. The storm raged outside. And in that moment, Elias Rowan realized he'd just let a stranger into more than his home. He'd let her see him. "The guest room is down the hall," he said, standing abruptly. "Second floor. You'll find everything you need." "Thank you," Clara whispered. He nodded and walked away, feeling her eyes follow him into the shadows. That night, lying in his bed 3 doors down, Elias heard her crying through the walls. Soft. Broken. The sound of someone who thought no one could hear. He stared at the ceiling until dawn, knowing he should have left her on that road. Knowing it was already too late. 5 days passed. Clara stayed.
She didn't ask permission. She simply existed in the spaces Elias left empty. The library. The garden. The kitchen where she helped his elderly cook prepare meals with quiet efficiency. Elias told himself he'd ask her to leave. Tomorrow. Always tomorrow. But every morning, he found small things that stopped him. A note beside his coffee, "Thank you for yesterday." A book left open to a passage she'd underlined. The sound of her humming in the music room. On the 6th day, he found her playing the old piano. The melody was haunting. Slow and aching, like a memory of something beautiful that had died. "You play well," he said from the doorway. Clara's fingers didn't stop moving. "My mother taught me. Before she died." Elias stepped inside. The room smelled of dust and unused space. "When did you lose her?" "Last year." Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled. "Cancer. Medical bills took everything. The farm. The house. Everything." "You had a farm?" "Nebraska. Middle of nowhere." She finally stopped playing, her hands resting on the keys. "My father died when I was 6. She raised me alone. Then she got sick, and I watched her disappear piece by piece." Elias sat beside her on the bench. "Too close." "And after?" "I left. Took a bus to New York thinking I'd find work. I didn't." She looked at him, and her eyes were clear. "I slept in shelters. Under bridges. Walked north until I ran out of road." "Why didn't you ask for help?" "From who?" Clara's laugh was bitter. "Everyone leaves eventually. I learned that young." Silence settled between them. Heavy and understanding. "My mother overdosed when I was 12, Elias heard himself say. "Pills and vodka in a bathtub. My father found her. Blamed me." Clara turned to face him fully. "Why would he blame you?" "Because I existed. Because she was miserable in her marriage and I was evidence of it." He stared at the piano keys. "He sent me away. Boarding schools. Summer camps. Anywhere but home. That's not your fault." "I know." He met her gaze. "But knowing doesn't stop the feeling." Clara reached out, her hand hovering near his. "You hide it well." "So do you." Her fingers touched his. Just barely. The contact sent electricity up his arm. "I should go," she whispered. "I don't belong here." "You keep saying that." "Because it's true." "Then why are you still here?" Clara's eyes filled with something dangerous. Something that looked like hope. "I don't know." Elias leaned closer. He could smell lavender from his soap on her skin. "Stay." "Why?" "Because I want you to." "That's not a good reason." "It's the only one I have." The air between them crackled. Clara's breath hitched. Then his phone rang. Shrill and intrusive. Elias pulled away, cursing under his breath. He checked the screen. His assistant. "I have to take this." Clara nodded, standing quickly. "I should go anyway." She left before he could stop her. The phone call was business. A merger falling apart. A scandal brewing. Elias handled it with mechanical efficiency, but his mind was elsewhere. That night, he found Clara on the stone wall at the back of the estate, staring out at the hills under moonlight. "You shouldn't be out here," he said, climbing up beside her. "It's freezing. I like the cold. It reminds me I'm still real." "Clara." She turned to him. "I'm scared, Elias." "Of what?" "Of this. Of needing this. Of needing you." Her voice cracked. "I've spent my whole life losing people. I don't know how to stay." Elias reached for her face, his thumb brushing her cheek. I've spent my whole life building walls. You walked right through them without even trying. That terrifies me. It terrifies me too. He moved closer. But I'm done running from things that scare me. Promise me you won't leave, she whispered. I promise. Everyone says that. I'm not everyone. Clara searched his eyes. Then she kissed him. Soft at first, then desperate. Like she was trying to prove something to herself. Elias pulled her closer, tasting salt from her tears. The wind howled around them, but neither felt the cold. When they finally pulled apart, Clara rested her forehead against his. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. Then we'll figure it out together. Elias smiled. Actually smiled. It felt foreign on his face. They walked back to the manor hand in hand. Neither spoke. Words felt unnecessary. But as they reached the front door, Elias's phone buzzed again. A text from his head of security, found something on the girl. Call me. His blood went cold. Clara noticed his expression. What's wrong? Nothing, he lied. Just work. But as she went inside, Elias stayed on the steps, staring at the message. What secrets was Clara hiding? And why did finding out suddenly feel like standing on the edge of a cliff? Elias sat in his study at 3 a.m, a file folder open in front of him. Inside were photos, documents, and a truth that made his stomach twist. Clara Mayweather. Age 19. Orphaned. Homeless. But that wasn't all. Her mother hadn't just died. She'd killed herself. Overdose. The farm hadn't been sold to pay medical bills. It had been seized by the bank years earlier. Clara had lied about everything. There was more. A police report from 6 months ago. Clara had been picked up in New York City, brought in for questioning after a man claimed she'd stolen from him. Charges dropped. Insufficient evidence. Elias closed the folder, his hands shaking. He should confront her. Throw her out. End this before it consumed him. But when he closed his eyes, all he saw was her face. The way she looked at him. The way she fit against his chest. The way she made him feel human again. A knock at the door startled him. Clara stood in the doorway wearing one of his shirts, her hair loose around her shoulders. Couldn't sleep? No. She moved closer, eyes falling on the folder. What's that? Work. You're a terrible liar. She reached for it. Elias caught her wrist. Don't. Clara froze. What did you do? I had you investigated. The words hung in the air like poison. Clara's face went white. You what? It's standard procedure. Anyone who enters my home gets vetted. I'm not some business deal. Her voice shook with fury. I'm a person. A person who lied to me. Clara jerked her wrist free. About what? Your mother. The farm. Everything. Elias stood, towering over her. She didn't die of cancer, Clara. She killed herself. And the farm was gone long before that. Tears streamed down Clara's face. How dare you? I dare because I needed to know who I'm dealing with. You want the truth? Clara's voice rose. Fine. My mother swallowed pills after my father beat her one too many times. She didn't die right away. She suffered for hours while I held her hand and begged her to stay. The farm was taken when I was 15. I've been on my own since then, surviving however I could. Elias felt like he'd been punched. Clara. And yes, that man accused me of stealing. Because I took food from his store when I hadn't eaten in 4 days. The charges were dropped because he didn't want the publicity. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was ashamed. She was sobbing now. Because I didn't want you to know how broken I really am. Because for the first time in my life, someone looked at me like I was worth something. Elias reached for her. You are worth something. Don't touch me. She backed away. You investigated me like I'm some criminal. Like I'm a threat. I was protecting myself. From what? A homeless girl who has nothing? Clara laughed bitterly. You're so scared of being hurt that you hurt everyone first. The accusation landed like a knife. That's not fair. Neither is this. Clara gestured at the folder. You want to know my secrets? Fine. I've stolen. I've lied. I've done things I'm not proud of just to survive. But I never pretended to be something I'm not. Not with you. Elias felt his carefully constructed control crumbling. I was falling for you. I needed to know. No. Clara shook her head. You needed insurance. A way out. Because that's what you do. You keep everyone at arm's length so they can't destroy you first. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. She wiped her eyes. I'll leave in the morning. Clara, wait. But she was already gone. Elias stood alone in his study, surrounded by leather and mahogany and the suffocating weight of his own choices. He'd wanted the truth. Now he had it. And it was destroying everything. The next morning, Clara's room was empty. Her few belongings were gone. No note. No goodbye. Elias searched the manor, then the grounds. Nothing. Panic set in. He called his driver. She'd been seen walking toward town at dawn. He found her at the bus station, sitting on a bench with her backpack, staring at nothing. Clara. She didn't look up. Go away. No. Elias, please. I'm sorry. The words felt inadequate. I'm so sorry. It doesn't matter. It does. He sat beside her. You were right. About everything. I keep people away because I'm terrified of losing them. But I already lost you, and it's worse than anything I imagined. Clara finally looked at him. Her eyes were red and swollen. You don't trust me. I don't trust anyone. Elias took her hand. But I want to. With you. I want to try. What if I can't forgive this? Then I'll spend however long it takes earning it back. Clara's lip trembled. You hurt me. I know. You made me feel small. I know. His voice broke. I'm broken, Clara. Just like you. And I don't know how to be anything else. She was quiet for a long time. The bus pulled up. Doors hissed open. Clara stood. Elias felt his heart stop. Then she turned back to him. One chance. That's all you get. Relief flooded through him. One chance. I promise. They rode back to the manor in silence, but this time Clara's hand was in his. That night, as she slept in his bed with her head on his chest, Elias made a vow. He would protect her. From everything. Even himself. But in a cheap motel 3 towns over, a private investigator was making a phone call. I found her, he said. Clara Mayweather. She's at the Rowan estate. The voice on the other end was cold. Familiar. Good. Keep watching. I'll handle the rest. The investigator hung up and lit a cigarette, staring at photos of Clara and Elias together. This was about to get ugly. 3 weeks of fragile peace. Clara and Elias moved through the manor like two ghosts learning to be solid again. They cooked together. Read by the fire. Made love in the dark with a desperation that spoke of borrowed time. But peace never lasts for people like them. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Elias found it on his desk, unmarked envelope, expensive paper. Inside was a single photograph and a note. The photo showed Clara. Younger. Standing beside a man in his 50s. Her arm around his waist. Both smiling. The note read, "Ask her about Marcus Thornwell. Ask her what she really wants." Elias's blood turned to ice. Marcus Thornwell. The name hit him like a fist. His father's former business partner. The man who tried to destroy Rowan International 15 years ago. The man Elias had spent years burying in lawsuits and ruin. The man who disappeared after losing everything. Elias found Clara in the garden, cutting roses. Who is Marcus Thornwell? The shears fell from her hands. Elias. Answer the question. Clara turned, her face pale. How did you find out? So it's true. His voice was hollow. You know him. It's not what you think. Then explain. He held up the photograph. Explain why you're smiling with the man who tried to destroy my family. Clara's eyes filled with tears. He's my uncle. The words hit like a bomb. Your uncle. My mother's brother. She stepped closer. Elias, please. Let me explain. Did he send you here? Elias's mind raced. Was this whole thing a setup? The road. The storm. All of it? No. Clara grabbed his arm. I didn't even know who you were when you picked me up. But you figured it out. She hesitated. That hesitation was everything. When? Elias demanded. The third day. Her voice was barely a whisper. I saw a photo in your study. Your father. I recognized him from old pictures Marcus had. Elias felt sick. And you stayed anyway. Because I fell in love with you. Clara was crying now. Yes, Marcus raised me after my mother died. Yes, he told me about your family. But I didn't come here to hurt you. Then why are you here? Clara's face crumbled. Because I had nowhere else to go. Because Marcus disappeared 2 years ago and left me with nothing. Because when you found me on that road, I was dying, and you saved me. I don't believe you. Elias. Get out. His voice was ice. Pack your things and get out of my house. Please. Listen to me. I said get out. Clara flinched like he'd struck her. Then she ran. Elias stood alone in the garden, the photograph burning in his hand. He'd been right all along. Trust was a weakness. Love was a lie. Everyone leaves. Everyone betrays. He went to his study and poured scotch with shaking hands. The phone rang. Mr. Rowan? His head of security. We have a situation. What now? Marcus Thornwell. He's been spotted. He's here. In town. Elias's grip tightened on the glass. Find him. Sir, there's more. He's claiming Clara owes him money. A lot of it. He says she stole from him before she ran. The glass shattered in Elias's hand. Blood dripped onto the desk. Where is he? The Old Mill Hotel. Room 237. Elias grabbed his keys. He drove like a man possessed, barely seeing the road. When he reached the hotel, he took the stairs 2 at a time. Marcus Thornwell answered the door with a smile. Older now. Gray hair. Expensive suit. Elias Rowan. I wondered when you'd show up. Elias grabbed him by the collar, slamming him against the wall. What do you want? Marcus didn't struggle to finish what I started. By sending your niece to seduce me? Is that what she told you? Marcus laughed. Poor girl. Always was a good liar. Tell me the truth. The truth? Marcus's eyes glittered. Clara did steal from me. $50,000. Money I needed to rebuild my life after you destroyed it. You destroyed yourself. Maybe. Marcus shrugged. But that doesn't change what she did. I've been tracking her for months. Imagine my surprise when I found her playing house with you. Elias's fists trembled. She didn't know who I was. Didn't she? Marcus pulled out his phone, showing texts. Messages from Clara. Dates from 2 months ago. She knew exactly who you were. She researched you. Planned this. The texts were damning. Routes through upstate New York. Notes about your schedule. Questions about the manor. Elias felt his world collapse. She played you, Marcus said softly. Just like I taught her to. The helpless girl act. The tears. All of it. You're lying. Am I? Marcus smiled. Ask yourself. Why did she really stay? Why did she fight so hard to keep you? Because she loves you? Or because she knew you were worth millions? Elias released him, stumbling back. I want my money, Marcus said. And I want Clara. You can keep your broken heart. She's not here. Where is she? I told her to leave. Marcus's face darkened. You did what? She's gone. You fool. Marcus shoved past him. If she runs again, I'll never find her. But Elias wasn't listening. He was already running. Back to the car. Back to the manor. Back to Clara. He burst through the doors, shouting her name. No answer. He ran to her room. Empty. The study. The garden. The music room. Nothing. Then he saw it. A note on the piano. I'm sorry. For everything. You deserve better than someone like me. Forgive me for being exactly what you feared. See. Beside the note was a stack of cash. $50,000. And a set of keys to his car. Elias fell to his knees. She'd taken the blame. Stolen from him to pay Marcus back. Left before anyone could stop her. She'd sacrificed everything. For him. And he'd called her a liar. Elias drove through the night like a man trying to outrun hell. He knew where she'd go. The only place she'd ever called home. Nebraska. The farm that no longer existed. It took him 19 hours. No stops. No sleep. Just the open road and the crushing weight of his mistakes. Dawn broke over empty fields when he finally found it. A weathered mailbox. A gravel driveway leading to nothing but foundation stones and wild grass. And Clara, sitting on the ruins of her childhood home, staring at the sunrise. He got out of the car slowly. She didn't turn. You shouldn't have come, she said. I had to. Why? To tell me what a liar I am? I already know. Elias walked closer, his shoes crunching on broken concrete. I found the money. And the note. Good. Give it to Marcus. Tell him we're even. Clara. Go home, Elias. Not without you. She finally looked at him. Her eyes were hollow. Destroyed. You were right about me. I did research you. After Marcus told me stories about the Rowans, I was curious. When I ended up in New York, I looked you up. Saw photos. Read articles. Clara. And when you stopped that night, some part of me recognized you. Not consciously. But I knew. She stood, wrapping her arms around herself. So yes. Part of me knew who you were. And I stayed anyway. Why? Because I was tired. Her voice cracked. Tired of running. Tired of being alone. And you looked at me like I mattered. Like I was more than just survival. Elias stepped closer. You are more than that. No. I'm exactly what Marcus made me. A thief. A liar. Someone who uses people to get by. That's not true. I stole from you. Clara's shout echoed across the empty fields. $50,000. I took it from your safe while you slept. Left it for Marcus with a note telling him to disappear. I know. I broke into your accounts. Learned the codes. Planned it for days. I know. Then why are you here? Elias closed the distance between them. Because you gave it back. Because you left before I could forgive you. Because you sacrificed your freedom to protect me. Clara shook her head. I don't deserve forgiveness. Neither do I. Elias took her hands. They were cold. Trembling. I investigated you. Threw your pain in your face. Called you a liar when you were trying to survive. I'm the one who broke us. We're both broken. Then let's be broken together. Tears streamed down Clara's face. Marcus will come after me. Let him try. Elias's voice hardened. I've already filed charges. Extortion. Harassment. Attempted fraud. He'll be lucky if he's not in prison by next week. He's my uncle. He's a parasite who used you. Elias cupped her face. You don't owe him anything. I don't know how to be anything else. Yes, you do. He pressed his forehead to hers. You know how to play piano. How to make terrible coffee. How to leave notes that make me smile. How to see through my walls. Elias. You know how to love, Clara. Even when it's hard. Even when you're scared. That's not something Marcus taught you. That's who you are. She collapsed into him, sobbing. Elias held her as the sun rose higher, painting the ruins gold. I'm sorry, she whispered against his chest. I know. I love you. I know that too. They stood there for a long time, two broken people holding each other together on ground that held only ghosts. Finally, Clara pulled back. What happens now? Now? Elias smiled. Actually smiled. Now we go home. To the manor? If you want. Or we could go anywhere. Paris. Tokyo. A cabin in Montana. He tucked her hair behind her ear. I don't care where we are, as long as you're there. Clara searched his face. You really mean that? I've spent my whole life building empires. None of it mattered until you. I'm still a mess. So am I. We'll probably destroy each other. Probably. Elias kissed her softly. But I'd rather burn with you than freeze alone. Clara laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was rusty but real. They walked back to the car hand in hand. As they drove away, Clara looked back one last time at the ruins. Goodbye, she whispered. Not to the farm. To the girl she used to be. The one who survived on scraps and lies. That girl was gone. 6 months later, Elias sold the manor. Too many ghosts. Too many empty rooms. They bought a smaller house. On a lake. With a piano in the living room and a garden Clara tended every morning. Marcus went to prison. 3 years. Enough time for the world to forget him. Clara started teaching piano to local kids. Elias scaled back his company, focusing on projects that mattered. They fought sometimes. Old wounds don't heal clean. But they stayed. That was the difference. On their first anniversary, Elias found Clara on the dock, feet dangling in the water. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, sitting beside her. That night. The storm. "What would have happened if you'd driven past?" "I wouldn't have." "How do you know?" "Because fate doesn't give you the person you want. It gives you the person you need." He took her hand. "I needed you, Clara. Even before I knew it." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "We're really going to make this work, aren't it?" "We already are." The sun set over the lake, painting the sky in shades of fire and gold. Somewhere in the house, the piano waited. Dinner was in the oven. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight, two people who'd spent their lives alone sat together in the gathering dark, and for the first time in either of their lives, they weren't running. They were home. The end.